Hi, this is Sylvia and welcome back to my videos. Today I'm going to show you something really cool that I had to do for myself, and I think it's something worth sharing, and hopefully you can learn something from it, maybe how to do this task itself, or what you see here you can extend it to do something else. So let's get to it. We're going to be batching timesheets in Excel. I need to submit a timesheet every 2 weeks, and the timesheet is actually an Excel file with all the information about the hours that I have worked or I can bill for the week. And the Excel file has to have my name, my signature, as well as have the dates of, the 2 weeks that I'm billing. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going to clear this out because you don't want to submit that with your timesheet. And here is a template. This is what I was given by my HR person to fill out every 2 weeks. Save it with my name and the period range for the timesheet. So it starts off that it's March 31st, 2024 through Saturday, April 13th, 2024. These are all hardwired numbers. And what we want to do is do something that's a little bit easier to automate, and we're going to be updating the dates and save it to a file. Update the dates and save it to a file. Or actually, we're going to be save it to a file and then update the dates for next time. You can do it whichever way you want. This is a little bit easier for the demonstration. All right, so we start off with March 31st. This is got to be a hardwired number, okay? This is a number that everything else is based on. And as soon as we update this number, we want all the other dates to be updated. So in the next line, instead of saying 4-1, we're gonna say the previous row plus 1. And there it is, it didn't change, it saved the value, we double click here and it extends it all the way to the 6th. Now here is going to be this date plus 1. Now I can't just copy that cell, otherwise it's going to give me an error, so I have to do previous date plus 1. And let's make sure that the last one is going to be the 13th. Perfect. All right, if I update this to what would be the next value, would be 414, right? 4/14/24. Everything else gets updated in those cells. It's important that you don't just set it equal to the last cell, otherwise you're going to have circular references. So that's there. I'm going to first save this file. I'm going to name this first cell and the last cell so that then I can reference them when I update the values or grab the values in a VBA script or even within this sheet itself. So I'm going to go to the first one and I'm going to call this first day. Make sure you spell it right. I keep on putting the R in many different places and then I get errors. So first day is here and this is the last day, so that I don't have to think about B24 or different locations in case things get messed up. Okay, so we're going to call this last day. All right, now remember we need to also update these two numbers, right? So this is going to be equal to the first day. It even gives me a suggestion. And then this one here is going to be equal to the last day. Yes, that number exists. Excellent. Okay, so now as I update this for 4/14/24, everything gets updated, even the numbers up here. So this is perfect. Now I can save it with this file name and then update the numbers and save it and update the numbers and save it. So that's exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to write a macro for it. Now we don't want that macro to be embedded in this sheet because this is just an Excel sheet. If I submit a macro sheet, whoever's at the other end is going to go and open it, and they're going to have problems with it because they're going to get that notice, are you sure you want to enable, macro enabled? So we're going to separate and put the macro into a different worksheet, which is exactly what we're going to do right now. So make sure you save this template as is, so it's got all the names and everything is going to be exactly the same as what's in the macro. Then we're going to save as, same name, but we're going to actually call it macro, because that's where we're going to put our VBA script. Okay, and it's going to be a macro enabled workbook. Save it, and that's what we're working in. So if we're working in that, now you want to go to your developer tab and open Visual Basic. You may not have a developer tab, but it's very easy to add it to your Excel, and once you do it the first time, it's always going to be there. So you can Google how to do it. There's some place where you just have to check it that it's there. So I have it enabled on mine because I love to use VBA. Now, the reason I'm doing this in Excel versus doing this in Python or whatever other programming or scripting language you use is I don't have to write the format. I set up the format in Excel, I can modify, do what I want, and then just keep on saving it. It doesn't make sense for me to have to write, and the coding is going to take forever to run it. Plus, it's in Excel, it's easy to run because it's self-contained. So we've opened up the macro on the right and the sheet itself on the left. Remember, I'm still in timesheet macro. So let's open up a insert. I right mouse, Microsoft something, objects, and we're going to insert a module. All right, this is where you insert your functions. We're going to create a function and we're going to call it update and save sheet. No input parameters because we're literally just going to run it from here. I don't want to do buttons because it's going to be in one file and be called from a different file, because in Excel you can run different things depending on your workbook. All right, so first we need to grab some data. We need to find out, we need to save this file with the first date and the last day as part of the file name, right? We're going to say first day equal range quote first day, and we're going to grab the values of it, okay? And last day equal range last day quote dot value. Let's debug print first day and debug print last day. I love my first time running through things. I always make sure that I put in the right thing. So we're going to play this. I'm going to press the play button, and that's exactly, these numbers match exactly what's here. But these are not in the format that I want. We're going to need to format these in something that's like 03/31/24. So we're going to say first day text equals format first day. Whoa, make sure you got things spelled properly. And then we're going to use the month, day, and year in 2 values for each. Last day. I could just copy the line before, and we're going to also do this one in month, day, year. You can set that in other ways. You could do year, month, date. This is how they wanted it from my output. So we're going to debug.print first day txt and debug print last day txt. And then we're going to just, let's run it just to check to make sure. Look at this. Haha, that's the format that I want. So now we can give the file name a file name. So my file name is going to be timesheet, then the date. All right, so it's timesheet and first day txt, and we're going to put a dash. That's the format they want. And last day. And my name, of course, .xlsx. This is going to be a regular Excel file. Now we're debug print file name. If you want, you can select all here and delete it with the backspace and Control A. Let's play. Haha, this is exactly the timesheet format that I want. Now what we need to do is also give it a path. Excel, I'm not always quite sure exactly if it's going to save to the Windows folder or in the folder of the workbook and everything. So we're going to get that information for sure so that we're doing it exactly. To do that, we use the Excel command. So this path, which is really this folder, equals application.active workbook. There it is. .path. Oh, look, there's so many things that you can grab if you just tab it. All right, so console, no, not console log. That's in VBA. Debug print this path. Okay, so let's just make sure that we've got, this is exactly where I have it in my folder structure. So now full path equals this path plus, no, not a plus, and / or backslash, that slash, and file name debug print this path. No, full path. That is what we're going to save the file as. And that is exactly the full thing. Ooh, interesting. Oh, because I plugged in my little mouse in the wrong place. So if you press play here, there it is. And that is exactly the file as I want to save it. So now we're going to say save it, right? So we're going to save active workbook dot save copy as. All right, so we're not going to save this itself because we're going to keep on editing it, but we're going to make a copy of it, and we're going to give it a new file name. File name is equal to full path. Perfect. And now we don't have to echo anything, and if we don't get any error, that means it did it, right? So now let's try this. Now, active workbook, which means that whatever workbook I am on, and it's the same work, everything that we do here is in the active workbook. So I'm going to go to the active workbook that I'm on right now, which is the macro file, and I'm going to go back here and I'm going to play this. All right. I didn't get any error, so hopefully the file is saved. If I go and I check this, I have way too many paths always open. I move it over here. There is the file itself. It's an Excel file and it's got some data in it, okay? If I try to open this, it's going to give me a problem because I have saved a macro file, macro enabled file as a regular Excel worksheet. So if I double click it, you'll see that I get an error. But I know there's content in it, and if we want, we can test it in other ways, but we're going to test it with the actual file itself. So we're kind of done with this. We've reached the point that we need for saving the file. So now what we're going to need to do, though, is we're going to now need to update the date on it, right? So we've done it for this one, and we want to set it up for the next date. And then we're going to save it. I'm doing it kind of backwards like this because it's a little bit easier for me to do it, and then I know exactly what I've done. And so if you want, you can almost even separate this into 2 steps. So actually, we could do that. Let's do that. So this is only save sheet. Okay, so this takes the first day, takes the last day, and it saves the sheet. So now we're going to create a new function. Okay, update. And we're going to say that what we want to do is we want to take the last day, add a date to it, and then put that into the first day. So let's grab last day and put it here. And then we're going to say this range here is going to have a value, okay? And it's going to actually be new day, next day, let's call it. But we need to define what next day is. Well, next day, all it really is last day plus 1. All right, so watch this. This is March 31st, 2024, and we're going to update this. Is going to add a day to the 13th, so that's going to be the 14th, and it's going to update everything. So let's press play on this, run it, and poof, 14th, and everything gets updated with it. Okay, so that was really cool. So now what we're going to want to do is a function that updates and saves, updates and saves. So let's say it's kind of tricky, or you can save and then update if you haven't, saved the 13th. So that's why it kind of depends on where you want to go to. So what I'm going to do is define a function that's going to save and update, or update and save sheet. And we're going to now say, so we're going to update first. So we're going to say call, because we're not returning anything, this sheet, and then call, well, I'm trying to get the name on this. Save sheet. So now let's see what happens. It's really tricky. You got to make sure that the file that you save has, you're going to update the values and then save it with those values. So let's try this and see what happens. So now it's going to go to, let's put this 3/31/24 again. And so if we update and save, it's going to do the following week. So let's play that. Okay, it did it. So let's go look at the folder. And what did it do? Oh, I think we had done a save before. So I'm going to delete this just to make sure that we're not doing anything. Come on. There it is. And so now if we are here, so now we got to go back because we had accidentally done this one. So 3/31/24. Okay. So we should be, if we update and save, we should see the next week and the file with the next week date. So we run it and see what happened. So the dates match 4/14/24 until 4/27, and those dates match as well. Now, the other way we could do it, if you want, is we can reverse the order. So if we do it like this, if we do function save and update, and we swap the order here, and we put back 3/31/24, and we do it in this order, we should be getting, so we emptied out this folder here. So now we should be getting the 3/31. And there it is, all right? Again, I can't open it right now, but we'll test it afterwards with the last step. All right, so you can pick whatever order you want and whatever order makes sense to you. Now, what happened? Now we updated and saved it so that the next week is set up already. Well, then we're just gonna keep on pressing the button here. So we're gonna run this again because now it's gonna save the 14th. There it is, and there's the next one. And there's the next one. So I can run this. You can create buttons. You can do whatever you want. But as long as your cursor is here and your other cursor is on this worksheet, you're just going to keep on getting exactly all these files. And so you can do this. I did this 10 times to generate all these different timesheets. Now, we need one last step because we're actually saving the wrong file, but that's okay because we can test it over again. We just wanted to make sure that all the dates are proper. Delete all these. So now, let's go here. Let's make sure we save this file, but it doesn't matter. Let's open up our template file again. Now, this is a regular Excel sheet. And make sure that you're in the template one. Okay, there it is. And we're going to move this over there. Okay. If you want, you could color code your macro one, but no big deal. All right, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did before. I'm going to save and update, save and update. So, and now I've got the right dates. I'm starting on March 31st, which is when I needed to do the timesheets. So I'm going to keep on pushing the buttons. All right, let's minimize this. I want you to see what kind of file type it is also, okay? Oh, and the file name. So we're going to save it because I haven't done the 31st and play. So play, play, play. Now it's Microsoft Excel sheets because we were looking at the template file, not the macro file. Now you can open this, and I always like to spot check it, not the, well, spot check the very first one. So there it is. So that's the one that's dated 3/31 until 4/13, and that's exactly what I want. And you saw that it opened it easily with no error because it's just an Excel file. And if I go and open the other file, and there is the data, the new dates. This was 4/28/24 until May 11th. And that's exactly what this is. And now you can send these files in as you need. So you can press this button or the other button, however you want. The key is this macro gets executed, whatever your Excel workbook is. So be careful, because if you're executing it in some other Excel sheet that you have open, it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens. And that's kind of the point. This is a demonstration on how you can save your files along the way with a new file name that is hardwired from whatever variables you may have here. Okay, so we're going to keep on doing this. We're up to May 12th. So we're going to keep on running it, and always make sure your cursor is where you want it to be. And I could do this again and again. If this is something slow, you can turn off all your debug commands. And if we look here, those are all the timesheets. And the last one isn't, because we're doing save and update, right? So if you want, you can then go in and save this last sheet or whatever it is that you want to do. So I hope this was helpful. It was kind of a fun thing to do.